You're live.
Hi everybody! Happy Wednesday. We're on block of the week day today. Sun's out. I'm in a good mood. Blue sky, I love it. We got our electricity fixed, thankfully, yesterday. So we are back up and running properly today. We have phone and internet and lights, and we've got heating now, but we don't need it because it's beautiful today. It's lovely, lovely out there. I hope it is by you guys too. So we're going to do, Wednesday block of the week, but we're not going to look at actually a block today. We're going to do how to bind a hexagon quilt, and we're going to look at different ways of doing it. But I've got some new bits to show you first, and I got a bit of an announcement as well. So we've had these come in. These are hemline gold. They're little quilting clips. You get 30 in there, and they're $8.95. So if you like your little quilting clips, these are the new ones. They're lovely, actually. Really, I think they're very. I don't know if Drew can come up a little bit close on those. They're very stylish. I'm liking the clear and the black with that little bit of gold in them. Got 30 in a pack, and they've got a really nice strong clip on them, which is great. Oh, and that now just means I can't clip that one because I've just done it wrong. There we go. And we've also had these come in as well, again from the Hemline Gold range. Little embroidery scissors. They're 5-inch ones. I don't want to take it out because it'll ruin it, but really nice. So I use my little Fiskars ones this size all the time. I like them for getting into, because they're really sharp to the point, and these are the same. And again, these are $7.95. So those are already on the website. These aren't on the website. These have come in. If you like your Bella Solids, if you like your charm packs, these colours have come in, which is really lovely, actually. I think we've only got like 4 or 5 of each of them, of each of the colours. But they are great for using with other charm packs if you're doing, like half square triangles. So you don't want a door you're cutting out. So we've got this one, which is, I didn't say the name on the back of them. I forgot to write the name down. So this is number 39, which is a lovely like straw colour. This is 126, which is sort of like a really sort of rich sort of green. Oh, it's not quite green, it's not quite turquoise, it's sort of a light tealy colour. There's a slightly darker grey than we've had in before, and that is 183. This beautiful mint green, which I actually think those 3 and that one, well, actually they all work together, but those 4 in particular work beautifully together. So the mint green one is number 34, and then this sort of beautiful cornflower blue, which is it's a beautiful, beautiful colour. Love that. It's number 25. These aren't on the website yet, but they're my first job when I get back over to the shop. So before I show you anything else, who's there, Drew? Who's coming online?
We've got Carol, and we've got Caroline.
Hi, Carol. Hi, Caroline.
Sheila, Nikki, Anne.
Hi, Nikki.
Anne.
Jean. Hi.
Yeah, Eileen.
Eileen. Hi. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us once again. We've also had a couple of new colours in of Mode Grunge, which are these 2. So this is Rococo, which is the most amazing red, it's like a cherry red, but it's got like an orange grunge and almost a lilac sort of distressed finish to it. These should already be on the internet. So this is Rococo. And then this one's actually called Bleu, which obviously is French for blue, but I think it's more of a green. It's like eau de Nil. It's what the colour my mum would call eau de Nil. That lovely sort of very pale, sort of sagey, slightly turquoisey green. Really, really pretty, really classy, I think. I like that one. But those are both on as well. So that's all the new stuff. Who wants a competition? Who wants to win something beautiful? We've had the new Liberty is out shortly. This is the Christmas range. There's also another range coming out as well, but this is the Christmas range. It's called Merry and Bright, and it's in 2 colourways. And the lovely, lovely people at EQS, who we buy our Liberty from, have sent us a bundle of Liberty fabrics. There are 20, one of each of the new ranges, Christmas ranges. So I'm going to open it up just a weeny bit, just so you can see. I will put the ribbon back on, I promise. But we're going to do a competition for this to win this whole bundle. You can see they are you've got some metallic silver in there. This is the blue colourway. Little doves, really loving that. Baubles, I mean, it's just yummy. Streamers. I love this one. I'm going to I'll find the green one of that as well, the green version, because I actually prefer it in the green, I think. In fact, I'm going to do it in the green. Look at this. It's like, you've got little tin soldiers, you've got the rocket, the Liberty rocket, little well, actually it's upside down, you've got a teddy bear, little ABC blocks. I just think that, and I don't know if you can see it, but it's actually metallic. You've got that metallic gold running through it all. Just beautiful, love that. So yeah, I'll come back to this one. So that's like the bluey red versions. I mean, you're going to get all of this. Whoever wins this is going to get all of this. And then you've got all those same patterns in the sort of more traditional red and gold and green. The little doves. Okay, so it's a 20-piece fat quarter bundle. It's worth just over £80, and we're going to run a competition for this. So over the bank holiday weekend, because obviously it's bank holiday coming up, there will be some offers coming out on the newsletter, and all this will be detailed in the newsletter as well. That will be going out in the next couple of days, so keep an eye on your inbox for the newsletter. So there will be some bank holiday deals going on. But the competition for this is, if anybody spends, so Saturday, Sunday, Monday of this weekend, if anybody spends £10 or more on the website, they will go into a free prize draw to win this bundle. Okay. Oh, I didn't do that right. I'll put it right. I'll put it all pretty for you. In fact, we've got a Liberty box. I'll put it in a Liberty box for you. So yeah, if you spend £10 or more, then that doesn't include postage and packaging. So it has to be £10 in goods or more. You know, you could spend £1,000 if you wanted to. I mean, you don't have to, obviously. But, you know, £10 or more, you're going to a free prize draw. And then when we're back on Tuesday, we will draw the winner for everybody who has ordered over Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We'll go in a draw to win this one. So who's loving it? Anybody loving it? Are they all liking the new Liberty?
Jenny's loving it. Carolyn's loving it.
It's gorgeous, isn't it? I'm really liking this. Their last Christmas range last year there was quite a lot of like purples and all in it, and I didn't think it was particularly Christmassy, but I'm loving this one. Absolutely loving it. And it can be yours. Somebody will win this. Okay, we're going to give this away. So yeah, there we go. So that was our little announcement, little competition. Well, not competition, that's a lie. Well, it is kind of a competition draw, isn't it? £10 on the website on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and you can win that one. So, any questions or comments before we get started on the demo? No? Everybody okay? Anybody got anything to tell me? Nobody doing anything nice? No? Okay.
A lot of people just loving the Liberty.
It is beautiful, beautiful. So we are having it in on the Bolt anyway, so you will be able to purchase it, but it's not in yet. But this was a little sneaky peek preview, which you can win. So I promised last week we'd look at how to bind different edges, how to bind irregular edges, because of the hexi quilt that we did as block of the week. And I'm going to show you today about how to, there's lots of different ways of doing this. I've come up with at least 4 different ways of doing this. So I'm going to show you today about how to bind this. Because there are so many different ways, I was going to do scalloped edges as well today, but we just don't have enough time. So I'm going to do a whole other one on how to cut a scalloped border and how to bind that. Okay, so I'll do that as another demo. Very simplest way. So I've had to make a little sample piece up because you do need to have it quilted first hand. So we'll get to that in a minute. The easiest way is to trim off the points. Okay, absolutely. So number 1, trim off your points. So literally just use your ruler, trim off those points so that your edges are square all the way around, nice and straight, and you just quilt and bind as normal. Okay, that's the simplest way. But if you want to keep this lovely sort of zigzag to your quilt, there's a couple of other ways you can do it. First way you can do it is to bag it out, and I know we talk about bagging out a lot. Now I grabbed this is a piece of English paper piecing that I did ages ago, and I still haven't done anything with it. It was just using up scraps of fabric. You can literally just bag it out. So I would layer this up. Obviously take all my papers out. I would layer it up on top of wadding, okay? And then I would put my backing fabric right sides together. And we've done a whole tutorial on bagging out. I would put my backing fabric right sides together, pin it all down, make sure it's all nice and stable, okay? And then you sew, obviously we're not going to sew this bit because I haven't taken the papers out, but it was just a piece that I had. You then just sew all the way around, 1/4 inch all the way around. So come in, like, imagine if that's 1/4 inch, down, stopping at the seam, up like that. You leave a gap in one side and then you pull it all through, okay? You would trim off any excess before you pull it all through, okay? Again, that's quite an easy way of doing it. You then quilt it afterwards. Once it's bagged out, you then do the quilting afterwards, okay? Easy way to do it. It's not as easy to bag out though. Easy on a small piece, not easy to bag out a full quilt, okay? It's not the easiest technique to do. So, did a lot of research about how to bind irregular corners. So I've made just a little sample piece, okay? Just a couple of hexes, so we've got a couple of edges to play with. Okay, let me just move some of this stuff out of the way. Is everybody okay with me? Everybody with me so far? Everybody still there, Drew?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah? Cool. Please do shout if you've got any questions, okay? So we're going to imagine that this is that quilt behind me and I've got straight sides, but I've got hexagonal edges on my short edges or long edges, whichever way around you've done it. You want to quilt it up with your wadding and your backing just like you would do any normal quilt, okay? And then just trim off any excess. So you just treat it exactly like you would a square quilt until you get to this point, all right? Now, I'm going to do this first method and I'm just going to do one half for you because I've got another method that I'm going to do on the other half. I'm just using a normal 2.5 inch binding, okay? Just folded in half, wrong sides together and ironed, all right? So we're just going to do a normal binding. You all right, Drew? You were pulling a face there. You okay?
No, I was just concentrating.
Oh, right, okay. Do you need your glasses on? You look like you were squinting at the comments then.
No.
You would start, just like you would with any other quilt, halfway down one of your straight sides, okay? So I'm going to pop this on like that and grab, you know I don't pin, but this is one of the first thing I'm going to do is just pop a binding clip there just to hold that in place. You then want to look, before you start sewing, you want to look at your angles, okay? And these internal angles, so where it goes in, you need to clip it just a weeny bit. So there's two things we're going to do. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to mark down 1/4 inch, okay? So I'm going to use my 1/4 inch off this hexi ruler from the point like that, okay? And just mark down on the seam just with whatever marker, obviously not a permanent marker. You want a 1/4 inch mark down from that point, okay? And you would do that all the way along. You then just want to clip into that just a weeny bit, and I mean just a weeny bit. Don't go right up to the 1/4 inch, but you're just going to clip down that seam about 3/4 of the way down. So don't get to that 1/4 inch point, just go down a weeny bit, just to give that a bit of breathing space, okay? You're all still okay? Everybody with me? Yeah? We're then going to start from here, leave yourself a tail for joining, start here, and we're going to stitch down to about 1/4 inch away, and we're going to, just like you would on a normal mitre, so I'm going to stitch to about there, and I'm going to back stitch and break my thread. So I'm going to get to that point and I'm going to come back over here so that I can show you the fold, because the folds are different. Obviously, because with a mitred corner, it's a 45-degree angle. None of these are 45 degrees, they're all 60 degrees. So, well, that's not a 60 degree, these ones here are. So there's a trick of how to do it, okay? So I'm just going to stitch that down. And while I'm stitching, talk to me. Talk to me. How you doing? Anybody there? Anybody got any questions so far?
Helen says she's following you.
Good. Right, I'm not going to use my 1/4 inch foot. I'm going to move my needle across. Oh, no. I'm going to move my needle across and use my normal foot just so I find it easier. I'm also going to up my stitch length to about 3.5 because I'm basically quilting at this point. And I'm going to come along and I'm going to stop at that pencil line. So, just stitch down. Oh, hang on. Could you move my water out of the way, lovely? It's going to get knocked over. There we go. Go all the way down and stop at that point. There. Back stitch. Make sure you back stitch or lock stitch just to really secure that binding. Okay. I'm going to come back over here so you can see what I'm doing. Move these bits out of the way. I'm going to try and do this towards you. I'm going to try and be fancy and do this towards you. Okay, so normally with a mitre corner, if this was straight, we'd pull this back away from ourselves and we'd make sure that that was a lovely 90-degree angle there before coming down like that. And obviously that's not going to work here. So what you want to concentrate is on this line here, okay, this angle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull back this until it's in line with here, okay? You can absolutely pop, I'm chucking stuff on the floor, pop a ruler like that so that you're getting it in a straight line, okay? Can you see that that's a nice straight line? You're following this line here, okay? Like that. And you can see that that's not that nice 40 degree, okay? That pleat is coming straight off the corner, all right? You're then going to fold it back on itself, but follow that raw edge. Okay, this is really hard to do upside down, but I'm hoping you guys can see that, okay? So those raw edges are all now lined up, and you've got this little pleat here, okay? But you can see like the pleat is coming, I don't know if you can see that, but it's coming off this top edge because it's a different angle. So I'm going to do that again for you, okay? So on one of these external curves, and we'll do it again when we get over here, I'm going to pull it back so that it's in line with this here, okay? So it's all following that line, okay? Give it a good finger press and then fold it back on itself so that those raw edges are right the way along here, all together, all lying in the same direction. I am going to pop a clip in that top bit there just to hold that in place a second. I would then start stitching right up here, and we're going to work all the way down. Now the thing that you want to look for now, as we're going down, because we're coming to an internal curve here, okay, is where that mark is. Remember that little mark we made just there? Okay, pop a pin in there. So what I like to do is do that, make sure I'm hitting that mark. Where is it? There it is, just there, hitting that mark, and that's where I'm going to stop. I'm going to put that pin where I want to stop. Oh, there we go, like that. So I'm going to now just stitch down to there, and I'm going to show you the next bit. In fact, Drew might want to come round behind me for this, because you kind of need to see, I can't really take it off the machine to do the internal curve. So you want to come round a second, groups, and we're going to stand behind me, okay, so we can do this next bit. So what I'm going to do is just start there, take a couple of stitches, and then back stitch. Can you all see, ladies, from here? Are you all right with this angle? And then I'm going to come down and I'm going to stop at that pin. I'm going to just come along like that. I'm going to get ready to get to that pin. I'm going to put my finger there, so I'm there and there. Okay, so I've stopped where that pin is. Okay, foot up, needle down. Leave your needle down at this point. What we're going to do now is we're going to turn this and we're going to squish up this quilt like that. Can you see? So I'm sort of squishing it up, drag it up like that to pull that angle straight. Did that make sense, guys? Okay, so I know you've got this big pucker here, but actually under the needle bit, because we clipped it, it's pulled it straight. So I'll do that again for you. Okay, so with your left hand, so hang on to the binding with your left hand, kind of squish up the quilt like that and come down to here. Okay, so make sure that it doesn't matter about, like I said, it doesn't matter about this bit. The bit under the needle and along here is flat. Okay, and I'm going to carry on stitching till about 1/4 inch away from this external angle. Everybody okay, groups? Everybody with me? Anybody?
Heather says, yeah, it makes total sense.
Got total sense? Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so I'm going to come down and I'm going to stop about 1/4 inch away and back stitch, because I'm now on an external point rather than an internal one. Okay, so I'm on a hill, not a valley. Okay, I'm going to go back over here a second. Oh, would you believe it, my bobbin's run out. Go back round, groups. Let me just change my bobbin. Didn't realise I did a lot of sewing last night. A lot. Didn't realise my bobbin was gone. Let me just redo that bit. So, and I just go back. Pop that under there. Any questions there when I'm just sorting this out? Anybody got anything they want to ask me?
Jenny said something. Where'd it go?
Yeah.
She said, would it be easier with a bias strip, or do you always have to use a straight grain?
I wouldn't use a bias strip on this. No, it's not a curve. It doesn't need it, and you actually want the strength of a double fold, because when we flip it over, you'll see how it works. And when you flip it over, it's better with a double fold. Bias strips definitely for scallops. Definitely. Yeah. So can you see that this is kind of standing upright at the moment, like this? It's supposed to, okay? Don't worry about that. When it all pushes over in a minute, it'll all be right, but it's standing upright. We've now got to another external angle, okay? So we're going to do exactly like we did last time. So I'm going to line my ruler up like that. And after a while, once you've done a few times, you don't need the ruler. You can see that it's in line, but it's a handy little thing to have. So again, just like we did on this one, I'm going to pull this back until it's in line like that. Can you see that that's all running up like that? It's a, if you look, it's a little equilateral triangle there, isn't it? Which is what you want for hexes. And then push it back on itself like that. Line that up. Oh, hang on, moved my finger too much. There we go. Line that up there. Okay. We're going to do exactly like we did on that corner. So I'm just going to hold that in place there. I'm going to stitch there and come down to this angle here, and then I'll go up the side. And what I'll do is I'll do that one external corner again for you so you can see it, and then we'll flip it to the back. I'm not going to go all the way around because I want to use the other side to show you the other method. Okay, so back over here. So talk to me please, my dears, ladies and gents, while I'm just putting this bit in.
Yeah, Karen had a question. When did it go? Karen asks, so would it be similar to a Y seam then?
No, not really. Not this time. No. I presume you mean the binder bit. No, it's not. It's not similar to a Y seam at all. I'll show you in a second when I push it out. You'll see the difference. It's just all about. It's about manipulating the fabric underneath, really. So, and then again, I'm going to do that same again. So I'm going to push it away so that it's in line with there. So it's running down like that. I don't know if you can see that. Do I need to come back over to the board? Okay, so I'm pushing it down in line with that. The binding's running along in the same direction. And you might need to just sort of fiddle with that a little bit because, you know, it's easy to pull it too far and it's not, you know, so you just want to fiddle around with that until your binding is in the same way, you know, running the same way. Pull it back on itself like that. And I'm just going to stitch down just a weeny bit just to so I can flip it over for you. There we go. You would just carry on working, you know, along the edge here like this. So you would just carry on. You'd start your binding here, come down, do that first angle into the dip, and you would work your way around exactly as we've done here. Okay. So imagine I've gone all the way around, and you just join your binding exactly the same way. Okay. When you then push this out like this, okay, you want to give this a really good press. All right, give this a really good press. So I'm going to push that out like that and like that. Get that one out. Make sure that they're all nice and flat. Okay, and then we can flip it over to the back like this. Okay, and you then you would bind it. Let me grab my binding clips. You would hand stitch this all on the machine. I would prefer, personally, I would hand stitch this. So just like we do with other miters, you're going to push that right out before bringing it over. You can see you've got your miter on the 60 there. Okay, bring this down. Now, you will get a tiny, tiny little pleat in that internal one. Okay, and if you just run your nail up it, it will get a little pleat. I can't do this hang on, I can't do it towards you, away from me. There we go, got it. Okay, and you do get a tiny, tiny little pleat there. When you stitched it down, it doesn't show. Okay, just hold that together there and there a second. Okay, you get just, I really can't do it. There we go. Okay, you get a tiny, tiny little pleat there, which when you stitch it down, it does disappear, it smooths out. Okay, it's because it's still loose at the moment, but I did it a few times and it seemed to work brilliantly. Okay, again with that one, I'm going to push it over like that. again, I can't do this away from me. There we go, get that one like that. And then that one's going to go over like that and join. Oh, no, come on, why aren't you playing ball? There we go, got it. Okay, so that you've got your mitre on that one. There. And then there's my last one on the edge. Which, again, push that one right out. And bring it over. That's where I change bobbin, like that. Oh, that's gone right wonky. There. Like that. Push it out, and that one goes over like that. Okay? And you get these mitres. Alright? You just hand stitch that, and you can bind your edge. Like I said, once it's stitched down, it lies a lot flatter. It's because it's not stitched yet, okay? But I'm not going to stitch it now. Obviously, you don't want to sit and watch me do this. But you would just work your way along, doing those angles. Can you see? You get the nice mitre up the corner. So, did all that make sense, ladies? Are you all okay with that? Everybody all right with that?
I think so.
Yeah? Any questions or comments before I move on to the other method?
It says that's okay for large hexes, but what if you have 1 inch hexes?
Oh, I wouldn't bind 1 inch hexes. Oh no, not a chance. Like this sort of size. No, bag it out. Either bag it out or trim them off so they're square. You might be able to do the facing method, which is what I'm going to show you now. But I would never try. I personally, that would be like hell on a hand stick, frankly, trying to do those angles. I wouldn't do them on anything that small. I would. I've just thought actually there's another method you can do, which is applique them on. Okay, so if you want to keep the edge, you can actually applique them onto a border and then just bind your border, so you're keeping that. Or I would trim them off, something this little, or I would do the bagging out method like that and do it then. But yeah, I would never. I mean, more good luck to you if you do try it, but I wouldn't personally ever attempt to do a binding on anything this small. It's that's a skill way beyond my capacity, definitely. But you might be able to try the facing method, which is something we're going to try now. Okay. Now I haven't done this before. I saw this online yesterday and thought, never seen that before. I have done the binding before, and I've done binding like with the spiral bargellos. You've got really unusual angles on that as well. So I have done this binding a few times. Never done this facing, but I thought we could try it. So what you need with facing is you need a piece. So you would still quilt it up just like this with your backing fabric. Okay. You then need a piece of fabric that is the width of whatever zigzaggy edge you're doing. Okay. So you need a piece of fabric that's that width, and you need it to be at least the depth from here to just over here. So like with this one, where's my ruler's gone? They've all vanished. No, actually I can do it on here. So I would need it to be at least 1/2 inch that way. Okay, so if you imagine you're 1/2 inch away from there, so if I put my 1/2 inch line on that, whatever your depth is, I would need it to be at least 3. I would probably go 3.5. So I would cut a piece of fabric that's 3.5 inches wide by the width of my quilt. Okay, and we're going to do what they call a facing finish, which, like I was saying, is something I've not done before, but I watched a tutorial yesterday and I was like, that's so clever. So we're going to give it a go. So you're going to be learning along with me at this point. So let me cut a piece of fabric off here, which is 3.5 inches wide. How wide it is depends on the width, the size of your hexes. Okay. Any questions? Any comments there, Joe? Is everybody still with me?
Marion says she's made a table runner, but with the hexi panel in the middle.
Oh, lovely. Yes, yeah. I mean, you can applique it onto squares and stuff and use the hexes. That's kind of like the real traditional way of doing it. But if you want to keep those hexy edges, I wouldn't do it on a thing. You want to hem one of these edges. Okay, so we're just going to turn over a weenie hem like that. Like that. Okay, and just iron it in for now, because we're going to stitch it down later, but you just want to iron that in. Like I said, this is the first time I've done this, so we're going to learn together. You then want to line this up like this. Okay, so I've got my hemmed edge like in the body of the quilt. So let me try and do this towards you guys. got the hemmed edge, so right sides together, hemmed edge towards the body of the quilt, like that. And you want about 1 inch or so hanging over the side. Okay, like that. You want to line it up so it's just over those points. So what I mean by that is, can you see? So it's, I don't know if you can see, it's just over those points there. Okay, 1/8 of an inch or so over. Pin this in place. Okay. So we're gonna. I quite liked the look of this when I was, well, like I said, when I was having a good read around different ways of doing hexes. And like I said, found this one yesterday, and I liked the finished look of this one. Okay, got that all pinned in place. Okay, you could, if you wanted to, just do like 1/8 of an inch seam all the way, stitch all the way round that, just to make sure that everything's lying nice and flat. I wouldn't on something as small as this, but if you were doing it on a quilt, I would probably just put that stay stitch in just to hold it. Okay, I'm then going to flip it over so that I've got this line to follow. In fact, actually, I'm going to pop a pin in there just to make sure that holds, and one in here. And I'm going to stitch now 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to start just off here. I'm going to come along there like that, all the way up, all the way down, all the way up and back down. So it's a bit like bagging out, but not the whole thing. Okay, so I'm going to take that over to the machine, and like I said, I would absolutely do this if it was small. I think would I absolutely do this? Me and the word absolutely. I know it's annoying. I'm sorry, I say it a lot. Yes, I think you could do this with little mini inch hexes. I think this would work. Can't see why it wouldn't. It's a little bit more fiddly because you've got a lot more little angles, but it's not horrendous to do. So I'm just going to go 1/4 inch all the way up like that to that edge there. And this method, this facing method, you could use with any. You could use this with scallops. You could use this with any sort of, you know, diamond edging, whatever you like, really. All I'm doing is just coming down so I'm in line with that inner point there, turning it and coming back up this side. Like that. And then like that. Now obviously I'm only doing a very small piece. You would do this along the whole length of your quilt. You do have to bind the straight edges, just say that. So you would, but sorry, I forgot to say that at the beginning, you would bind your straight edges first and then you would do this. Okay, totally forgot to tell you that bit. All right, so I've stitched 1/4 of an inch and I've stitched just down each side. Okay, just down a little bit. All right, this has gone really wonky. Can you give me those big orange scissors, please? You then trim off the excess in line with your hexes. So you trim off there and go down, and the lady in the video said use scissors, it's easier apparently. So, you all still there? Any questions or comments? Drew, anybody there?
We've still got people watching. I think
Still people watching? You're all quiet? Or I don't know if we're not getting comments again, whether it's one of those days. It might be one of those days. Okay. Take those pins out.
The last comment I had was Marion's about
Yeah.
a table runner.
Okay, and then you just want to trim off some of that excess in the corner, in the points. Okay, so just like clip into your points there and there and there, and you do need to clip into that curve and into that internal point as well. So just clip in a little bit like that. Okay, and then you remember you'll have already bound your straight edges all the way down. Okay, just don't bind your bottom bit, and then you turn this through. And you turn this through like that and like that. Now I haven't come down far enough. I haven't stitched that. I would stitch. You need to stitch that all the way down. You'd stitch that all the way to here. Okay. Flip that over and then push out those points. Oh, get that out of the way. Push out that point like that. Right, I'm just going to very quickly stitch that down because that's going to annoy me because it won't push out properly. I don't know why I stopped there. Don't.
Yeah, everyone's just watching.
Everyone's just watching, fair enough. I think we did corner facings a little while ago, which is a method of doing it, the same sort of method. And then you push that one out. There we go, I can push that out now. Okay, get your turning tool or your scissors right into that corner push it all out like that, okay, all the way over like that. Give it a good press. You could make it deeper if you wanted to. In fact, I think I probably would. She said 1/2 inch, but I think I'd probably go 1 inch because that's very close to that internal point now. I would give myself, if I'm going to do this method, I would absolutely give myself more. I think I'd probably have cut 4.5. And then all that she says to do then is just hand stitch down, just like you would your binding normally. I'll try and find the video again. It was a really random little video I found after about 30 yesterday. I'll try and find the video and put a link on it because I think she does it better than I do. Like I said, I've not done this method before, but that then you just slip stitch. Ow! That hurt. I made myself bleed. Those magic pins are really sharp, people. You just, I'll go that way, slip stitch down that little piece there. Oh, I've done it again. Both fingers. Ow, ow, ow. I'm going to sit like this now, aren't I? Slip stitch it down. Don't prick your finger that badly that you make both fingers bleed. And go. Stop, that one, stop now. That one hasn't. And what you end up then is you get a faced edge like that. So your straight edges would be bound normally, like this piece here, all the way up. And that would, the binding actually sits underneath. I will put the video on for this method because, like I said, I've not done the faced method before. I've only ever done this one. But I thought I'd try and show you that because it looked quite a nice method. So, any questions, any comments since I've now really pricked my finger?
Jenny said that's clever. Jenny Edwards says, sorry, I'm late, been sewing,
Oh, that's all right.
binding and being frugal.
Being frugal?
Frugal? What is frugal?
Frugal means being careful with your money or fabric and stuff and everything. Okay. Yeah.
And then Grace said, made a bed runner with 2.5 hexis, ended up making it reversible with the same hexis, but and because I didn't know what to do, but
yeah, well, you can do that. Absolutely, you can do that with hexes. You could do. I'm thinking about it, you could do that with a facing, couldn't you? You could actually, if you imagine it was a, if you cut hexagons out rather than a straight piece, have a play with this. I'm making this up as I go along, but thinking about it, let me try and show you what I mean by this. Yeah, if you did the facing with a strip of hexes rather than a straight strip of fabric, you could line them up, couldn't you, like that? And you'd sew, I'm going to try and do this here for you. So you imagine that's the faced edge. You'd stitch down, up and down the hexes and then push it through. And then on the back, you'd have a nice, you'd have your backing fabric, wouldn't you? But you'd have your backing facing would be pretty as well. Yeah, why not? Why not try it? Yeah, that's I really like that idea. That would work. Rather than having a straight facing, you could join more hexes. That would work. Cool. Any other questions or comments there?
No. Carolyn says she likes it. But
cool. Oh, lots of finger pricks now. Ouch. Yeah, I still think that the binding method is probably my favourite. If you want to keep that, half the time I'm really lazy. I just chop them off and do a square binding. But I think probably the binding method is my favourite way of doing it. But I think the facing method has got merit. It's definitely worth trying. I think it'd be worth trying doing it that way. It's a bit like bagging out though that way, I think. I don't know if it's more work than it's worth. It was just a different way that I saw online yesterday. I thought, well, let's try it. Let's see what happens. So hopefully that was helpful for those of you who have done hexi quilts. But it's not just hexagons. Any angle works like this. If you line up that line and move it, it doesn't matter if it's a really sharp angle or a wide one. You can bind that way. Okay. I think that's everything. I don't think, unless anybody's got any other questions or anything. No? Perfect. Okay, I'm going to love you and leave you. Sarah is back tomorrow and she's going to show you all about finishing seams, different ways of finishing seams, like binding seams and French seams and overlocking seams and all sorts. So she's going to show you all ways of finishing seams. And then I'll be back on Tuesday and Wednesday. I've got a brand new block for you on Wednesday. I've been playing around with a couple of ideas, so I've got a new block for you on Wednesday, and I haven't decided what I'm going to do on Tuesday. If you want anything in particular, drop us a message. You know, if there's anything you want me to run through, it's always worth asking. If we can, we will. So I will see you Tuesday. Have a lovely, lovely bank holiday. Don't forget to keep an eye on the newsletter, because you can get a chance to win this, and all that new stuff is on the website. So take care, guys. Bye.